Welcome to the first episode of the Sports Social Podcast. Been in the works for a little while, but we're finally getting around to doing it. We'll be bringing you all the headlines, controversy, probably some arguments along the way, debate and discussions, all from the world of sport with a social, bit of a feel to it. The one thing that hopefully won't be changing with the podcast, unlike the sporting world, is the hosts. Alongside myself, Nick Golden, we've got Norwich's finest from August to May, but for the next 2 months, he's more of a Dutchman, Duka Dogma. And along with us, we've got, just call him Jamie Carr. Guys, we've not actually seen each other for a while. It's good to be back.
It is. It's been ages. I mean, what's it been now? Like a few months, probably.
I've not seen either of you since what?
December.
Wow.
Yeah, Christmas would have been the last time.
Half a year, if you put it like that.
Which is kind of mad when you think about it.
A lot of Zoom calls.
Yeah, well, hopefully,
and now we're back on a Zoom call, so nothing's really changed, to be honest.
Still the same. Hopefully one day, the podcast won't be over Zoom. We get to, meet up and do it in person.
Mm-hmm.
Quite nice.
That would be the dream. But looking at the Euros, I heard Wout Weghorst is getting the golden boot, by the way.
Weghorst, you think?
Yeah, mate. Honestly, he's the meme. He's a meme, but he's also a good player. You know, like how Olivier Giroud's a meme, but he's also like one of France's best players. That's what Wout Weghorst is to Holland.
I didn't even know he was a meme. I love Weghorst. I basically, like a couple of weeks ago, got in a panic when all these Kane like leaving rumours were happening, and I was like, let's do some research and some of the best strikers we could replace him with. I saw Weghorst. He was one of the top scorers in the Bundesliga this season. I thought I'd love him. He's massive, strong, could score a goal out of anywhere. I just thought I'd love to get him over to Tottenham. I doubt it'll happen, but now that I've seen what you're talking about, he could be a contender if the Netherlands play well, though.
We won't. No, hold on, we won't. We've got Frank de Boer as the manager, and like if you speak to any Palace fan,
like, are you going to be supporting them over England?
Oh yeah, of course. I'm Dutch. I'm going to be supporting the Netherlands, but I just don't think we'll do very well purely because of the fact we've got Frank de Boer as our manager. Because yeah, he's an absolute dinosaur for manager. You've not seen what he's done at Crystal Palace. What did he last 3 weeks?
Well, you know what? Let's save because obviously yourself, you've got a lot to talk about the Netherlands. Let's leave that till we get to the Dutch group, because they've actually made it to the competition for once.
Sorry, when's the last time you finished runners-up or third place in the World Cup? You still tied on about 1966. Sorry, these are digs. Sorry, carry on.
When you're talking about like England football, and actually, I think I won't be the only person who will like be on this. I'm not, of course, big competitions. I'll always support England. Of course, I have the flag out the window. I'm one of them, but I don't watch international friendlies or like the Nations League, or I just like
put myself through the friendlies that just happened. It wasn't worth it.
Why? Yeah, but you're used to watching Tottenham, so it's not much different. Like, and Tottenham are one club you don't want to talk about at the moment. Like you can't even pull Sarri or Conte or.
We were going to pull Conte, but he had commitment issues.
Right. Anyway,
that's what it is.
That sums up everyone at Tottenham. Anyway, boys, let's get on with this. Shall we go through each group?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Start with Group A. It's still quite weird saying the 2020 Euros being in 2021.
I think that's weird. It's advertised everywhere like that, isn't it?
I think the first.
Just call it Euro 2021. Like, this is one number.
Why not? And 2020, the summer was actually when things started getting peak again until COVID came back. First things first, I think it's important to start with this. Obviously, COVID's still a massive part of our lives, unfortunately. Do we think the Euro should actually be going ahead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. There's no reason for them not to be. We played a whole football season when we were in a third lockdown, which looking at the number of cases and deaths we've had in England, it was the worst lockdown out of the three.
It was.
And we still played a full football season during that. Yes, there was the odd game being cancelled due to COVID, but it didn't halt the season at all. It didn't halt, it didn't really ruin anything. It was just obviously that fans weren't there. That was the only difference. But we knew that was going to happen. But we still carried on playing football. I want to say the majority of the countries around Europe are now out of lockdowns and whatnot, or you still have social distancing things in place and whatnot. But it's safe to be able to do these Euros. We want to see it. I'm like all fans, in England and across Europe, we love the Euros. We love international competitions more so than obviously the international friendlies. And it's a summer where we can just enjoy ourselves for a month and watch football. That's the dream.
there will be some fans as well, from the looks of things.
A lot
Exactly.
of fans, actually.
I believe there's.
Yeah.
I can't remember what country it was. I want to say it's Hungary, but they're allowing full sets of fans, full crowds at their stadiums as well. It's mental.
Well,
Some
I heard
countries are a lot better off
Wembley
than
might
us.
get full capacity, like possibly beyond June 21st, full capacity Wembley.
I don't think
The
that's
finals at Wembley,
Depends.
and like the
depends
final
if,
being July.
I
So
mean,
who knows?
I mean, that's
depends
still
on Bojo, isn't it?
so much. I mean, I think Wembley's holding like it's 22,500 for Sunday, and I believe I know
That's pretty good.
St.
though.
Petersburg. That's obviously one of the main hosts. They're at 50% capacity. They'll have 30,500. There's a good
That's
amount. It's
good,
going to make
yeah.
a difference.
There's still fans. In fact, there's still you can still have fans there.
Yeah.
It's not full crowds, but it's progress, and it's something that we need to see before the start of next season. When hopefully everything is near enough back to normal. We can go away days, we can do these home games, and full crowds, and it's a step in the right direction. And hopefully after June 21st, we can start to see maybe 75% crowds. And obviously, I do believe the government will be a bit more cautious with it than just throwing it straight in the hat sort of thing. But it's a step in the right direction. It's just great seeing fans back at football stadiums. We ain't got this fucking crowd noise on anymore. It's brilliant.
Definitely, especially if there's some home games for England as well. That'd be massive.
Exactly. Right, the Euros obviously is happening. No matter what some of us might think. Let's start with Group A, and actually, I think a bit of a underappreciated group, you might say. Turkey, Italy, Wales, and Switzerland. Starting with Turkey, actually, they've done quite well in their qualifying. They've beaten some of the top teams recently. Italy.
I don't want to speak about it. I don't want to speak about it.
Italy as well now with 27 unbeaten, and actually for a lot of people, Italy are the real dark horses for this tournament.
I guess so.
100%. 100%.
I mean, their squad's good. I can't help but forget how they didn't manage to qualify for the last major tournament. So that's always in the back of my mind. But I didn't know until today that they were 27 undefeated. So
yeah, they're huge. I mean, Mancini's done an incredible job there. I believe they haven't even conceded in their last 8 games, and they've won their last 8 as well. And obviously defensively, we know what they're capable of. With the likes of Chiellini, Donnarumma in goals. We know he's young but still experienced at the same time. He's fantastic. And even going forward, Ciro Immobile is one of the most underappreciated strikers in this modern age of football. Actually. The amount of goals he scores is unbelievable. And Federico Chiesa, quality player, Lorenzo Insigne, players like that. They're top quality players, and Italy are really, really underappreciated at the minute. I think it's because they haven't really. I think since Euro 2012, when they reached the final, they haven't really performed on the international stage, and people just don't expect much of them. But like you've both said, Italy are real dark horses of this competition, but so are Turkey as well. Turkey are very, very big dark horses.
I mean, we say Turkey. I'm pretty sure when I looked at the world rankings last, Switzerland are higher than you think they are. They're like right up there. I might have to get it up now, but they could also be pushing for it. And Wales, last Euros, Wales were at the semi-finals. So.
Yeah, Wales ain't going to do anything though. Like I'm not going to lie. Wales, who do they have at the centre half? Ben Cabango. He's mediocre at best.
Davies, Joe Rodon.
Davies, exactly. Bang average players. When the thing, oh sorry, you go Nick.
Carry on.
Like the thing is with like Turkey and Switzerland, they have world class players. You look at Zakaria of Switzerland, he's a world class CDM. You look at Burak Yilmaz of Turkey. He won the league with Lille, I believe. Season just passed.
Yilmaz, yeah.
World class players, and that's what I mean. Wales is Gareth Bale, but he's on the last legs of his career by the sounds of it. So
he's absolutely not. He's flying. He's been fantastic.
Do we reckon then? So, are Wales? Do they have any hope of making it to the last 16? Obviously, with the Euros as well, it's not just because it's only 6 groups. It's not just the top 2 that could go through. It's the 4 best third place teams. Could that be the way that they possibly sneak into the last 16?
Yeah. Do you know what? I did just slander Wales big time. I was just looking for a few bites, hopefully, by people. But no, it really could be, because you look at Switzerland, Turkey, and Wales. Yes, there is a bit of quality separating them, but on the day, Wales could turn up and actually do quite well, especially against Italy as well. Obviously, we have just sung Italy's praises, but at the same time, anything can happen. It's football, obviously, but there isn't too much quality separating these teams in the group, if I'm honest. And if Wales pick up maybe, let's say, a couple of a draw and a win, and finish on 4 points, but still finish third.
Well, so I
Who
mean, for
knows?
these teams that like come third, and there's going to be 4 of them. How many points do you think these kind of sides are going to need to get, and does it depend on who else is in that group?
I'd say like 4 points is the average, isn't
About
it?
4. Do you think 3 maybe is enough as well? Because you're only playing 3 games, 2 are going through. So that third team isn't going to have many points unless the second place team has either probably got level points with them or something.
Yeah, no, but I'd say between 3 and 4. I think you're right, Jamie, definitely.
I think there's a few shock teams making it through to the last 16 purely because there are some really big groups in like this competition, especially Group F, which we'll get to later. So is that vast majority then Turkey and Italy to make it through from Group A?
Yeah, and I'd say Switzerland to finish third. Obviously, that could really depend on whether they can get enough points to go through to the last 16.
Group B, another one that's, I would imagine, quite close to Duka's heart. Denmark, Finland, Belgium, and I guess close to my heart as well, Russia.
Really?
Belgium, I would say.
Oh, I know why. Sorry, I was actually trying to think. I thought you were going to mention Netherlands somewhere, but I can see why Finland, Timu Pukki. I'm there now. Sorry, I was where's this close to my heart?
I just forgot it.
Where? Who I support.
I remember Timu Pukki. Yeah.
I think Belgium, we could probably all agree, should sail through that quite comfortably.
Belgium, easy win.
And again, also underdogs for the competition. Potentially Belgium, always have kind of been close, not close enough.
They're dying out now. They've had, I think their 2018 World Cup, that was their sort of like golden era. That's dying out now. You look at all those players that kind of shined, and obviously they're still in their prime now. But they're gonna, I think, if they don't win this competition, that's it for Belgium for another 10 years. They've got to then bleed through that talent and turn them into world-class players again.
When you say like underdogs, I just felt like that I would never say underdogs, because I'd say they should be one of the top 4 or 5 teams that should be expected to win this competition. They were at the World Cup, because generally, if you look at their squad, especially at the World Cup, it's pretty much the same. It's a very good squad. It's probably like as good as ours, as good as any of the other top teams. And they just kind of bottled it at the World Cup. Yeah, they did have France, who were playing at their best as well, who knocked them out. But I don't know. They underperformed, and they've always come so close. But a bit like England, bottled it. So they really need to do it this time, I think.
Are Denmark another team where this is almost their last chance, because the likes of Schmeichel, Eriksen, not getting any younger?
Yeah. Yusuf Poulsen, obviously, as well. Front is a very, very good striker. They do have a few good players there. And
I think they're ranked
very difficult to say.
I think they're ranked. And they beat us, I'm pretty sure, 1-0 last year as well in the Nations League. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Obviously, we lost to Belgium. We either drew to Denmark or we lost 1-0.
Was that Switzerland or was that
Denmark?
I think that's Denmark. I can't remember. I'm Dutch. I know we beat you in the Nations League.
Like generally around the pitch, quite a good team. They've got Højbjerg in midfield and Eriksen is, I don't know, biased, but obviously they're very good midfielders. They've got is it Poulsen up top? Decent.
Yeah, Yusuf Poulsen.
So like generally good, but it's not quite top. But they could be a dark horse possibly.
And of course, I think.
Do you know what? I'm saying honestly, people like don't respect Russia enough. They reached the quarterfinals of the last World Cup, didn't they?
And I'm pretty sure in the 2016 they made it to the last 16 as well. They're one of those.
And then in 2008 they reached the semis. They beat Holland, I know, in the quarters.
I mean, I always used to think they were a reasonable team.
It's because they don't necessarily have the players like necessarily playing in the top leagues in Europe. There's only a handful of players, Russian players, who are actually playing, in the top leagues in Europe. A lot of them are still playing in the Russian league, which actually is quite an underappreciated league as well. I think that's my new word, this podcast, underappreciated. But for me, I think it's probably Belgium and Russia to go through from that group.
You think Russia over Denmark?
I just don't.
I think it's going to be between Russia and Denmark for that second spot.
A big advantage for Russia as well is, of course, they get to play in St. Petersburg.
Well, so they had the home advantage, obviously, at the World Cup. I felt like that's why they did well,
But the fact is, they did also like they did do well in previous competitions as well. It wasn't just the 2018 World Cup. They've done really well. They've just gone under the radar.
You know, Zuba, the massive 6'5" striker.
Who was it? That was an absolute player. Alan Zagoev. That's his name. He was a player, wasn't he?
Cheryshev.
Yeah, Cheryshev. I think he's Ukrainian, isn't he? Cheryshev.
No, because I remember him scoring for Russia.
Was he scored, was it a volley or something? He scored a ridiculous goal.
So there's another player. Golovin. That's his name. Golovin.
Is he at Monaco now? Where is he now?
I think he's at Monaco, yeah.
At Monaco.
Yeah, so a few decent players in there.
And obviously Finland, they just have Timu Pukki. Yeah, they're finishing rock bottom. They're finishing rock bottom. I hate to say it.
So are we saying obviously Belgium and then Russia?
Between Russia and Denmark, it's so hard to call. Yeah. I'm going to go Russia because I know they do well. But yeah, it's between them two. And then obviously Belgium at the top.
With Denmark, then possibly coming from Russia or Denmark, whoever doesn't get that second spot, potentially in the third place, because there's a lot of points. I mean, no offense to Finland, but for Russia and Denmark, Finland should be a 3-point game quite easily.
100%. 100%. But I wouldn't underestimate Finland. They do well. Yeah. And Timu Pukki is a good player.
Right. Moving on to Group C, and I imagine Duka's going to be talking now for the next handful of minutes.
Yes.
Netherlands, Ukraine, Austria, and North Macedonia.
We're in the competition, North Macedonia.
Yeah, we're going to piss this group. So, I think it'll be Holland first. I don't think you boys will disagree with me. You know, Ireland have world-class players. Obviously, without Van Dijk, but we still have De Vrij, who's won the Serie A with Inter, and you've got De Ligt, who's probably the best up-and-coming young centre-half in the world. We did have the midfield three of Van der Beek, De Jong, and Wijnaldum, but Van der Beek's now got COVID, injury, and he's got COVID. I think he's got an injury. I don't think he's got COVID.
All that I feel for
Van der Beek. He's got an injury.
He's injured.
Yeah, he's out injured. So I think it'll be Martin de Roon again. He's done very well for the past 3 seasons in the Serie A for Atalanta. We have a very strong midfield, and going forward, like obviously I spoke about Weghorst, and then you've got Memphis Depay, who's been absolutely banging them in for the national team in those 2 friendlies, and even the wingers, Quincy Promes, Steven Berghaus, Steven Bergwijn.
Promes is at Moscow, isn't he, as well?
Yeah,
he's a Spartak. He was. I'm always seeing him scoring goals for Spartak. You know, I follow Spartak.
Yeah, so it's a lot of there's a lot of talent in this Holland side, and I think to come second, I think it has to be Austria. Very underrated side. Marcel Sabitzer, is it? Of Leipzig, very good player. Alaba, obviously.
Alaba for me is one of the most underappreciated defenders. Similar to me, I know he's not. He's better than Aspilicueta, but the number of positions that Alaba can play, he's played. Left back, he's played CDM. I think he's
played left wing before. He probably has played left wing.
Knowing him.
Yeah, it must have done. But yeah, they've got a very good squad. Obviously, I think they've still got Marko Arnautovic, banging in the goals for him.
I'm not sure. I mean, ever since he went China,
you'd want Marko Arnautovic.
Arnautovic is going to be the main player up top, isn't he, for them? So the next guy they've got is Stuttgart striker, 6'7". I don't know how to say his name, but he's been fairly prolific, like 16, 17 goals this season. Massive
season. So, and then obviously North Macedonia, they got Goran Pandev. That ends there. 48-year-old Goran Pandev. He's not 48, but he looks 48.
Pandev, I do remember this name, but I didn't think is he old then?
Yes.
Yeah. I believe he's either very, very late 30s or early 40s.
We only know of him because of the country badge that you saw on Ultimate Team back in the day, and you were like, "What is that country?"
It's Goran Pandev.
In all fairness, though, for North Macedonia to make it, that's quite a good story as well, because they are, undoubtedly they are probably the weakest team in the competition. It's probably between them and Finland. It's a good story, isn't it? End of the day, because who knows?
Yeah, it's a good story. But yeah. You never know. We have seen countries come through before.
Right, so we agree. I'm guessing we've all agreed then on Netherlands and Austria to go through.
Yeah, Ukraine, I don't really see what they offer. Apart from Alexander Zinchenko.
Right, the big one now. I guess not for Duka, but England, Croatia, Scotland, and Czech Republic. Now, for me, this group is massive because I look at that and I think Croatia, obviously, knocked us out of the World Cup. Scotland, Scotland beat England in the Euros in a major competition that just got fireworks written all over it. And Czech Republic, I'm pretty sure it was Czech Republic who ended our, winning.
Yeah, it was. That was.
So,
But not only this, I want to see how you boys feel about this, because obviously we know that if you win this group, you're playing pretty much Germany, France, or Portugal.
That's what round. It seems to be.
Do you want to finish second or first? If this is the case, you have the choice right now. You can finish second, have an easier team in round 16, or finish first in a group, but have a harder team in round 16 who are probably more likely to beat you on paper. What would you choose?
I've had this conversation with some mates, and we actually were like, we might want to rather finish second. It's kind of crazy, isn't it, that we're even thinking that?
I think it's too dangerous. It's too dangerous to go with the mentality of we want to try and finish second. Because, just if you manage it past the last 16, obviously, that means you're still going to have a ridiculously tough draw in the quarterfinals. I think in a major competition, you don't want to be losing games, no matter who you've got to face next.
Yeah, exactly.
You look at that, and obviously, if we lose one game, that could well, put us down to third, and obviously, we then got to hope that we've got better results than those around us. We should win it, but it's not exactly been, the easiest. Build up, obviously, with Trent, the whole drama around Trent, then for him to get injured.
I'm glad he's gone. Is that just me?
I'm
glad Trent's gone.
Like the knock to his, don't get me wrong, the kid has got. I say kid, he's older than me, but the amount of talent that he has got is insane. Yeah, I think the amount of media, the negativity he's had in the press is unfair. Like he is arguably like one of the best deliverers of the ball we've got. Like there is no argument about that. And then
James Ward-Prowse.
Yeah, I mean, he could get called up because they've not. It's only one injury.
No, they went with Ben White clearly. So
yeah, Ben White's come up because of to replace Trent. But it's just our two pre-season pre-Euro games weren't exactly
nothing to go off. I'd say.
Though, I think every competition we never seem to be convincing against lesser teams ahead of the year. I think competition.
There's nothing to be concerned about apart from the fact that everyone, if we all made our favourite England team right now that we all want to see, they'd all roughly be the same. They'd all be a 4-3-3, and we haven't seen this 11 play once. We haven't seen it at all, and we're going to go into that competition. Let's say we do play this team, which is hopefully with like Rice, Mount, Kane, Sancho, like these kind of things. They won't have played together. We've played in both these games, aside where all of the players that aren't going to play have played. That did my head in. Doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's the thing, obviously, he's not played any of the Man City or Chelsea players who arguably are, apart from Kane, the biggest talents in the team. Obviously, there's been, I don't think Walker's played yet. Stones, obviously, Mount, James, and obviously, for some of these players, especially ones like, because obviously with City and Chelsea in the Champions League final and United in the Europa League final, unless you're Chelsea, then you're not up the Chelsea. But for City and United, they've got a lot of negativity hanging over them going into this tournament.
Yeah. I mean, have you seen Phil Foden's haircut, by the way?
Yeah, Paul Gascoigne .3, mate.
Yeah,
I like it. I think it's a bit.
So you'll probably bottle another semi-final.
But what realistically, obviously, Dick, you can join in on this because you might be Dutch, but you live in England, so realistically, how far should we get, or how far?
Semis at least. If you don't get further than the semis, you failed.
So
you genuinely failed.
How good the squad is.
Okay.
Yeah, you look at the quality in this squad. This squad is full of Champions League winners and Champions League finalists. You have to be serious contenders for this competition now.
It's a tough one. I mean, I don't want to.
France have this great squad, but you just got to look at how many Champions League finalists and how many Champions League winners are playing in this England side.
Well, Grealish will probably start. He's not played Champions League football.
Doesn't need to, because we already know that he's an absolute baller. But I'm just talking to the likes of Mason Mount, John Stones, Reece James, Phil Foden. Players like that who have played in the Champions League final just recently. Obviously, Chelsea went and won it. Are you serious? You got to class yourselves as serious contenders now. This is England's golden era.
I think so, but I've got two.
But the fact is, it's only just started as well, so you've got years to come.
Well, the two concerns are, one, this team hasn't really played. I don't know what to expect. They haven't really played together, and we have a PE teacher as a manager. So that's one concern. And then the other concern is, I only have confidence in this team if we have Stones and Maguire as our centre backs, and Maguire and I think Henderson, who have been the two main injury concerns, who are still going. Maguire, I don't even think he's like fully fit. I don't know if he's going to play. If we play anyone other than Maguire and Stones, I'm not comfortable. If I play with them two, I am comfortable.
But it's almost a guarantee that, you know, Walker's obviously going to be starting off at centre back.
Well, only the back three, surely.
Well, yeah, so you've got to think it'd probably be what Walker, Stones. He might even go Ben White, to be honest. I can't see him wanting to risk Maguire for the first game. Obviously, the first game's Croatia as well, which on paper that is the hardest game. But obviously, argue you got to look at Scotland and think like.
I think Scotland won't be like on paper we should beat Scotland 2-3-0.
Right,
I think because of it's like a rivalry. I think if we win, we're going to win by a goal, and it's going to be a hard game. It's going to be a horrible game.
And that's the last thing really one of the Euros is not only a hard game, but a physical one that's going to cause players to get injured. And if there's any game that's going to cause players to get injured, it's most likely going to be England v Scotland.
Oh, yeah.
I think Scotland, similar to Wales, they're sending a very young team. Inexperienced, yes, but nothing to lose. It's similar to us, you can always say, in 2018.
Yeah, I mean, they've got some nice little players in there. Robertson, Tierney, McGinn. McGinn's a great player.
Gilmore, best player in the world.
Who's the next
Grant Hanley. Grant fucking Hanley.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. But anyway, who's finishing top two in this group? I think we're all in agreement on England, Croatia.
I think England, Croatia, but honestly, I can't write off Czech Republic or.
I don't think you can write them off, but I think it's
one.
On paper.
What happens if we lose to Croatia first game? I hate that they're the first game, the hardest one first. What if we lose?
Then the pressure's on us to then basically we
have to. Oh, God, I'm tired.
If we don't get to this, okay, last bit in England. If we don't get to the semis, does Southgate lose his job?
He has to. He has no choice to. This England team's far too good to go out anywhere before the semis.
Is it better for a golden era?
If you get a good manager in after this, no. Look, you got so many young players coming in. It's not going to be the end. Sancho's is he even in his 20s yet?
He's 21, I want to say.
Grealish is still young. Kane's only just going into his prime now. You know, Mount, Foden, Rice, they're all young. Look at all the right backs. I think only two of them are like edging into their 30s. That's Walker and Trippier. You've still got Reece James. You've got Trent Alexander-Arnold. You've got Aaron Wan-Bissaka. You've got Max Aarons. You've got so many young right backs, left backs. Luke Shaw's and Ben Chilwell are both about mid-20s. Harry Maguire and John Stones, both are edging towards the later end of the 20s, but centre halves can go on to their 35. It's only the start for England's golden era.
And it's the best squad we've had for quite a while, I think. And
you've got 17-year-old bloody Jude Bellingham as well.
He's ridiculous.
What were you doing when you were 17?
I was in college. Like
I watched Norwich finish 14th in the Championship.
It's just nuts, isn't it? I mean, fair play to him. Right, so England, Croatia, yeah?
Yep.
Nice. Yeah.
Move on to the next one.
Moving on to the next one, and it's another tough one. There is no easy group in the Euros. Spain, who, there's a lot to talk about with Spain at the moment. Sweden, Poland, and Slovakia. Starting with Spain, they're in a bit of trouble, aren't they?
They've got the worst squad I've seen, like their worst squad they've ever put out since I've ever.
But regardless of that, the two COVID cases, meaning their whole team is isolating at the minute.
Spain fielded their under-21s against Lithuania last night. Fair play to under-21s. They still battered Lithuania 4-0. So, shows that Spain's got some quality players coming through. But this is one of the worries I've got, because we've seen in the Premier League that when players or staff tested positive, that the game's been postponed. That can't happen in the Euros. Do you think it's going to be a possibility, not necessarily for Spain, for any team? Because it's probably going to happen that a player is going to catch COVID during the tournament. It's more than likely with all the travelling. Do you think we'll possibly see a team having to drop out because of COVID?
Can you imagine that happens?
I don't think that will happen. I can't. Possibly, but I just can't see it happening. I don't think it will happen.
I think if one person gets it, they'd just be put aside in the bubble. And
one though, isn't it?
I mean, you've got double the amount of players that you need. You've got more than 2 sets of 11 players, so you'll always have enough time
So
to kill.
you only need 11, is that right, Jamie? So you don't need any subs, mate. Everyone can
I
last
obviously
full
need
90.
a bench, but like I guess
I
worst
mean, the way
comes to
Spain
worst,
play, their 11's probably works for them. Actually, they pass it.
yeah, like worst comes to worst, like you have enough to play the game, and maybe if it was really bad, you've cut your bench a bit, but ultimately the tournament's a month. Like, just do it.
And also, they're also the one that they've got.
Do it.
Like, Spain are worried to the point they've currently got 17 players in a backup squad training, whilst the main team is off, in isolation. Which
That is bonkers.
it's the last. And to be fair, Spain are another one of those teams where, obviously, a lot of their, Ramos, for example, they're in their they're changing. But where England were a couple of years ago, that's where Spain are now. Like their golden generation is very much dying out now, and it's these new young players who are coming through. And this was really their first tournament to show what they can do.
Well, Ramos, you just said about Ramos. You're aware he's not in the squad.
He's not in the squad. He's not in the main squad. He's not in the backup squad. Saying that.
I read that there was a falling out with the president of, was it either Real Madrid or FIFA, and also I think the Spain boss said he was injured for a lot of the season, and so it didn't make sense to put him in the squad.
Based on that theory, Harry Kane would never make it into the England team, would he? Like, he could have a broken leg and he'll still make his way into the starting 11. Like, let's be honest.
This is going to be the first time we've seen our generation has been Piqué and Ramos. Piqué retired after the last World Cup, and Ramos hasn't been picked. It's weird.
It's now Pau Torres and Raul Albiol who's going to retire probably after.
No, if Spain hadn't have got Laporte, if Spain hadn't got Laporte to change nation, they'd be.
Oh yeah, be Pau Torres and Laporte.
They've got Laporte, which is a massive boost for them.
Yeah.
Also, I've seen Group E, Sweden. Obviously now without Zlatan because he's injured. Poland. I mean, Lewandowski. Robert Lewandowski. And Slovakia, who, I mean, we can probably quite confidently say that Slovakia won.
Yeah. I think it'll be Poland and obviously Spain. I think Spain will still, but even for backup squad, Spain will still do it.
I mean, Poland, Spain,
yes. And then
Poland. Yeah, Poland, Spain.
Yeah,
has to be.
Moving on.
Yeah, moving on.
Final group.
Here we go.
How this has been drawn, I don't know. What happened there? Don't know.
Yeah,
don't know.
You've got a feel for Hungary. Because in Group F, it's Hungary, Portugal, France, and Germany. The last.
Nick, stop saying hungry. I'm really hungry.
The last 3 winners of European competitions, or of international football competitions. I mean, Hungary comes top.
The group of death is mad, isn't it?
I don't see Germany doing well. I honestly,
no.
Watch
them against Latvia.
It's Latvia, mate.
I know.
Yeah, but it's Latvia.
I know.
If it was France, if they duck it as France, would be like, yeah, fair play.
The thing with Germany is obviously it's Lowe's last competition. They've got players, obviously, Bayern again, obviously on top of Bundesliga. So they've got, Müller, Gnabry, Sane, all high in confidence. Havertz, Werner, extremely high in confidence for the Champions League. Gundogan, obviously, was unbelievable. It's probably the best he's been in the Premier League season. They've got a lot of players extremely high in confidence. For me, they are. I look at them and I think they won't come top. I think France will probably dominate because France just look ruthless.
I think Germany will be a third place, but still go free on third best team.
I think Germany have one of the best squads in the tournament. Like, if you actually look at it, they do have really good selection.
Yeah, we're disregarding Portugal's squad.
Oh, I'm getting to
disregarding
Portugal,
it so much.
I'm getting to Portugal. I went through all the squads and Portugal surprised you, but just with Germany, their only concern for me is their striker role, because Timo Werner's just not what he was, but maybe he's in a Germany shirt. And Thomas Müller, maybe they're going to pick him over Werner, and Muller's Mr. Consistent, so it might work out.
Portugal, who would you say now is their,
Right, let's talk their front three is probably Bernardo Silva, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Diogo Jota. That's a hell of a front three. Their midfield is Bruno Fernandes. I don't know who their centre mids are, but it
would be Fernandes and Neves, wouldn't it?
Fernandes, Neves. They've got.
They've got Cavallo.
Yeah, Cavallo. Yeah.
Pereira, Danilo Pereira.
Pereira, yeah.
back.
And look at their fullbacks. Grimaldo, is it Grimaldo? No, Grimaldo plays in Spain, doesn't he? There's a good left back they've got.
Oh,
It is Grimaldo, isn't it?
No, he's placed in Spain.
No, it's Grimaldo. Oh no, Grimaldo, Spain. It's
Nuno
Are you
Mendes.
sure?
Nuno Mendes. I want to say Nuno Mendes.
They have very good fullbacks.
But they've got
João
João Cancelo,
Diaz.
Diaz at centre back, Pepe, who's always does it year in year out. Jose Fonte, who's gone and won League One this season.
I know.
And then
crazy.
they got Rui Patricio and goals, no mug as well. Yeah, they've got a very, very underrated squad. Yeah, Germany's probably better all round, but you've got to remember, Portugal always do well in the Euros. Always do well.
I couldn't believe they won the last one.
They're the holders, aren't they? They're the holders.
Yeah, exactly.
So, based on that, are you saying then France, Portugal?
France top, obviously. Portugal second, Germany third, and Hungary last.
The mad thing about this group is that I don't think the third place team will be the best. Oh, well, I was about to say the third place team will be the best third place team and go through, because I feel like you're either going to win or lose in this group. But you've got 3 points against Hungary.
Yeah, you've just got a guaranteed 3 points against Hungary. I mean, it'd be crazy if Hungary even get any points in this group stage.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll talk about, when we record next week, by then, obviously, everyone will play their first games. But based on just the groups, before anything's been played, we'll start off for you. Who are going to win? Who are the favourites? Who do you think is going to win?
Who do I think is going to win, or who are the favourites? Or who do I want to win? Like, where are we going with this?
All right, we'll go. Who do you want to win, and who do you think will win?
I want Holland to win, obviously. Wout Weghorst, top goal scorer, my boy. Tim Krul, number one, obviously. But who do I think will win? I don't want to say France. I'm going to say Italy.
I honestly agree with you.
Italy.
I want Italy. I think Italy will win.
Jamie?
Italy. Want England, obviously. Harry Kane to get the golden boot again, which you will. And then I think realistically to win, I mean, this England squad's good, but I just can't picture it. And it's someone out of that Group F, I think. And Belgium should do something, but I don't think it will. So I'm going to go France. It's probably a bit basic, but I'm going to go France.
Duke just froze on my screen. He's all right now, but it was the funniest face.
Yeah, no, I thought it was Jamie that froze. It was me that froze.
Oh, you're
right.
So you're saying, so Duke is saying Holland and Italy. Jamie, you're saying England and France.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I'd want England to win, but for me, Germany. I just got a feeling. I've just got.
They're up there as well, but I just think because France have won a World Cup as well, and N'Golo Kante turns up in big games, they just have such a good squad.
Right. Well, see, we'll come back to the Euros next week.
Yeah.
For the next month, we'll be going back to it. Should we move on to boxing? Because last weekend there was.
Yeah, well, it's been on YouTube boxing events, isn't there?
Well, so last weekend obviously it was the Mayweather Logan Paul. And I just want to read this, you actually. I read this down. So if they've not released the pay-per-view buys yet, this is based in the UK. So to buy the pay-per-view, Sky were charging £16.95 for an exhibition fight, may I add. Floyd Mayweather, his upfront cost was to do the fight. He was given $10 million. He will also be given 50% of the pay-per-view shares, which again haven't been released yet. Logan Paul, from just stepping in the ring, made $250,000. It's when you look, it's just ridiculous money. Obviously, for those who watched the fight, personally, I didn't. I watched the highlights in the morning because I weren't prepared.
Oh yeah, I watched the highlights.
It was on 4 a.m. UK time, and it wasn't a brilliant fight. I mean, obviously, there's no judges, and there's no winner.
You got to respect Logan. Obviously, he went the whole 8 rounds, against the best boxer in the world, arguably. You got to respect him for that. At the same time, it's like, I get it's an exhibition fight. There isn't going to be rules in place, sort of thing. But at the same time, a YouTuber isn't. He's testing himself. But he's testing himself against someone who's a completely different body class to him. Floyd Mayweather, is a fantastic boxer. But at the same time, you're fighting someone who's like, a different weight class. 8 3-minute rounds, which is weird, and then no judges, and you can only win by knockout. Like, Yeah, if that was a boxing match,
Logan
would have got twatted. He would have got twatted if that was an actual boxing match.
There was a conspiracy theory that Mayweather knocked him out, and then just held him up to keep it going longer, because also the longer it keeps it going, the more money he's going to make. And obviously Logan completely denied it. I don't know how much truth. I've seen the clip. I'm not sure how much truth there is in it, but just the amount of he's like Floyd Mayweather, just from stepping into the ring, forgetting the pay-per-view shares, which, obviously it's going to make a lot of money from that as well. Like, I reckon it'll probably make upwards of 20 to 30 mil base just for this fight. But he made 10 mil just for stepping in. Like, does this tarnish? Obviously, he's still, does this tarnish his legacy? Because there was this was something he was asked actually in the media afterwards, and he kicked off saying that, how does it tarnish his legacy? Fighting these other people, it's where the money is. But does it tarnish his legacy?
Does it tarnish it in the sense that it's like a YouTube fight? It's like not a...
Arguably, pound for pound, the greatest fighter in the world. And he's just gone and fought a YouTube boxer who's, 0-1 to KSI. Like...
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, I think...
It's an exhibition fight now.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you look at the fight on paper, Logan's 6'4", Mayweather's probably 5'8" or something. If this fight was without gloves and just on the street like a scrap, Logan you'd think would win. But because it's boxing, Mayweather's such an annoying boxer. I actually hate watching him. I've decided this. He's just this for as long as it's so painful. I hate watching him.
It did make me laugh. There was a thing with Logan. He in the first round, in the last 20 seconds, he just went mental, and he threw 22 punches and not one of them landed.
He was getting a load off, and I mean, it was a good end to the round. There was also one, 2 shots after each other. I can't remember what round. They were probably his best, where he got him here and here, right after each other. But Mayweather just kept going. He is ridiculous.
Do we think we'll see a Mayweather Logan Paul 2?
I don't want to see it, but we know for a while there's going to be money involved and money talk, doesn't it?
And quite clearly at the
moment.
The
only reason they're doing it, because Logan says he wants to be the best entertainer in the world, and he'll do that however it is. And he was just the idea of Mayweather be this YouTuber. Obviously, that's entertainment. It is. I wanted to see what happened, so that's the only reason. It's not about and money.
It'll be interesting to see all you guys watching it think. Let us know in the comments below if you'd like to see a Logan Paul Mayweather 2. If you think it would happen, and yeah, basically if you enjoyed the fight. There's obviously, another big event from, the social media world happening this weekend. I mean, quite clearly, YouTube boxing or, influencer boxing is, seems to be the way forward. It's the TikTok YouTube event this weekend. Obviously, lots has gone on with that. And again, just to quickly read you, it's happening in the exact same venue in the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. The pay-per-view, so the pre-sale was, was £20. To buy the main card now, it's £35. To watch, may I just add, a bunch of people who, apart from a couple, have never boxed in their life. £35.
I'd only watch it for Gibbon Deji.
Well,
I'd only watch
it. It's only Deji.
Is that?
I mean,
this is the thing though. These TikTokers, they fucking dance on their phones, and literally half the time you just fucking swipe down on them. This bloody Bryce Hall geezer. Who the fuck is he? Taylor Holder. Who the fuck is he? Who the fuck are half these people? I didn't hear of them until Gibb mentioned them in the video. And it might be because I live in England, but at the same time, these guys think they're fucking dog's bollocks. You dance on TikTok. Shut up. Stop trying to get into the boxing scene. English YouTubers created YouTube boxing, and these TikTokers that bloody, I don't know, twerk on camera or whatnot, think they're just gonna take over this.
Doing it. I didn't know Gibb was doing it.
Yeah, Gibb's not doing it. The whole sort of social media boxing thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. Is it good for the sport?
I mean, it's bringing.
Oh no, it's completely lost its credibility.
The thing is, though, it is bringing the younger viewers, and
But it's also people don't understand the actual the dangers of boxing. Yeah. Boxing's a dangerous sport, and people just don't understand that because so many YouTubers are just doing it. There's a geezer I saw on the press conference to this TikTok YouTuber event, saying, "Oh, you haven't even started training yet." I'm like, people don't take it seriously. If that's going to come across to the younger viewer, I mean, they need to, don't get me wrong, bring the younger viewers into the sport, but also make them aware of how dangerous the sport actually is.
I'm pretty sure
But
they
do
use
you not think
14-ounce
it's
gloves as well. So I mean, I can't. Like, it's unlikely there's gonna be any knockouts, especially if they're using 14-ounce gloves. It's just not gonna
I
happen.
believe the head guards as well.
I'm not sure about that actually. I
think it is head guards.
I think it might be because it's not obviously a pro boxing event. And
do you think it's losing its credibility in boxing?
It's a different.
What do you mean?
It's a different type, isn't it? I mean, like, you know, there's
the white collar in it.
Exactly, and it's just, you know, end of the day, you know, fair play to them. They're stepping into a ring.
Yeah, you can respect that in that sense, but they'll be getting paid a bit.
Well, yeah, and obviously, and that's the one thing is, no matter what people might think of Bryce Hall, what he is doing is so clever. Like, the man could sell a pen. Like, the amount of like attention he's bringing to this fight, by being the way he is. I mean, it's fair play.
Being a twat.
Effectively,
being a prick. Being Jake Paul's little brother, pretty much.
Well, yeah, because I mean, Jake Paul's got involved now. I think I saw on Drama Alert. Apparently, he slashed Austin McBroom's tires. Will either of you be watching it?
I'm not going to watch.
Again, the same with the Logan Paul fight. I'll probably watch the highlights. You know, I'll look for Gibb winning because Gibb's the only one I care about.
That'd be a good fight and all. Gibb v Taylor Holder, pretty much the only two on the card actually got a bit of boxing history.
Yeah, I mean, getting knocked out in fucking 10 seconds of Jake Paul is good history, isn't it?
Do you think, though, if you were to choose one to watch, would you choose to watch this event or the Mayweather Logan Paul event?
Oh, this event 100% because you can actually win. The whole sport, the whole idea of sport is that there's competition involved when you're watching it. That's what entices you and draws you in. There's no competition between like Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul. Like you're like, oh, who's going to win? Well, when you're watching a boxing match, what do you talk about with your mates when you're watching it? Who do you think is going to win? How can you do that while watching an exhibition fight between Floyd? Yeah, but you can. You do, but that's the only way you can win that fight against Logan Paul. Between Logan Paul and Mayweather. I mean, this one actually has a bit of competition to it.
A lot of this fights by decision because Mayweather normally goes the whole way and just tires people out and then wins the decision. But that's quite boring to watch. A lot of people like a knockout. You know, Anthony Joshua's won most of his fights by knockout. People love to watch Joshua. Same with like Tyson, like these great fighters. That's what you like to watch. So I guess the benefit of the exhibition is the only way to win is to knock out. That didn't even happen. So
it'd be interesting to see. We maybe we'll have to get a guest on a couple of weeks to discuss boxing, but I mean, it'd be interesting to hear what they think because you know it's become mad. Like obviously, it had made a lot of people very angry. The whole YouTube boxing scene. You know, I mean, fair play to it. Is bringing younger viewers and is bringing more money. So that's something I think we might come back on again in a couple of weeks. We'll try and get a guest on. Moving on, we'll look at tennis for a bit. Obviously, the French Open is currently happening. It finishes on Sunday. And there was a big incident last week. I imagine a lot of people watching this would have heard about it and have read about it. But I'm interested to get your two's opinion. Naomi Osaka, now she forfeited the competition. Fourth of the competition. She's also pulled out of the Berlin Open, which was meant to play in this week. There's now doubts of her playing in Wimbledon as well, which is in a few weeks' time. Basically, she felt that this is what basically her team said. Basically, she felt that her attempts to preserve her mental well-being were a distraction to her peers. Basically, there was an incident where she, you know, overprotecting her mental well-being, refused to do the media gigs after the match, after each match. You know, being one of the highest seeded women, she was favourite to get far, but she refused to do the media gigs. She didn't want to be interviewed. You know, fair play to her over her mental health. So she basically was threatened by the competition. If she didn't do her interview, she'd be fined money and possibly kicked out of the competition. So what Naomi did was she left the competition. She forfeited. This is what the French tennis president said. He's male. I just want to say that, white male. He said that he hopes she recovers quickly. Basically, that was the main thing was he gave a massive statement and then said, I hope she recovers quickly. So she's basically saying that depression is an injury and that can be healed overnight. So she's had support from Lewis Hamilton, Serena Williams, Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving, who actually has been fined 60 grand before for skipping media. They've all come forward in support for Naomi. It comes back again to, you know, the dangers of the media and causing depression and not appreciating it enough. And then for the fact that the French tennis president to say that he hopes that she recovers quickly. Like, are people ever going to learn that
mental health is serious? Probably not. I mean, even, it just shows that, and even on one of the biggest stages of the world, and in the French Open, it's ridiculous, isn't it? And that's the thing with the media though nowadays. Like when you're looking at online media, broadcasted media, like you're looking, you don't care what it takes to get that interview, to get that story, and by disrupting someone's mental health as well, and then trying to punish them for not doing the interview because they chose not to because of their mental health is absurd, isn't it?
I assume they're contractually obliged to have to do these interviews.
Yeah. At the same time, though, people, surely mental health comes first over everything.
Absolutely, but it just doesn't. And the media goes so over the top. They're so ridiculous sometimes. I feel for some people. I know in the NFL, a few years back, there's obviously this great player, Marshawn Lynch, the Beast. Don't know if you've heard of him. Great running back. He never did his media press. Or if he did, he'd just sit there and he'd say nothing. He wouldn't answer, or he'd say no comment. And he was or he'd say, "I'm only here because I'm paid to or contracted to." Some people just really don't want to do it, and I feel like you should just do it when you're okay to. But if you don't fancy it, then don't do it.
I think it's got to be as well. Obviously, she was playing singles tennis. So unlike football, when when they do the football interviews, normally it'd be two of the players there, so they can they have someone there for support. For her, she'd obviously been a singles player. She would have been there on her own, potentially, after in some cases a 3+ hour match.
Yeah.
And as we've seen, obviously, we're all trying to get into the media world, and as we've seen, it is vicious. If
it's toxic in places as well, it's not nice.
People are, even if I mean, for example, if I was a tennis player and I just lost a game after 3 hours, the last thing I'd want to do was go and talk to the media to then be pressurized to give answers about that loss. It's just,
when you put it like that, I forget that the games can be 3 hours. It's crazy.
I know this. I mean, this question is asked so many times, but quite clearly, there's not enough being done to support mental health. It's a question that seems to go around and around and doesn't ever seem to get answered. What can be done?
Educate people. The president of the French Open, educate him on mental health. And it's the same with every situation that's going wrong in the world. Allow people to get the education to know about what people go through, because there's not everyone's privileged like the president of this French Open. Not everyone's privileged like him to live a fucking luxurious life and maybe not have mental health issues. And he doesn't know the fact is that people actually go through it. Yeah.
I mean, has Osaka been fined? Has she received any?
She definitely received one fine.
Right. Well,
and they were then threatening her with a bigger one, basically fine every single time. And then basically because she kept refusing, she was threatened basically that she was going to be kicked out of the tournament, which is when she just turned around and decided to forfeit because she felt like she was she felt like she was I've written it down here. So she left in an attempt to preserve her mental well-being because she felt like it was being a distraction to her peers, so to the other players. I would assume by that. I
mean, I think if someone has a problem like that, or they don't want to do an interview, they shouldn't be fined because they don't want to. Maybe what it should be is they should just have an explanation. And if her explanation is, you never want to say I had mental health problem, or I was depressed, or something like that. But I don't know, if she just said her reason that it comes under certain things, then that's acceptable. It shouldn't be you have to do it no matter what.
And you've got to have respect for her and all. She's come forward, about it to the world media. She must feel quite rudely.
This says it all, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's ridiculous. But what is our we'll go on to our last. I think it's the last topic that we're speaking about, isn't it?
It stays with, social media. Cricket. I'll be honest, a sport I don't watch much of. But there's
Me neither.
Yeah. Jamie, I reckon, probably watches it all the time. Probably even goes to it, I would imagine.
No, you know what? I'm not one for cricket either, surprisingly.
That does surprise me. You are for horse
Not
racing.
really.
Anyway, so in cricket, the English Cricket Board is taking action over historical tweets from several England players. Ollie Robinson, who is 27 years old, has been suspended from playing for England based on tweets from 2012-2013.
Sorry, how old is he? Sorry,
he's 27 now.
So he was 17. So we're talking 2012. He was 18.
He would have been 19.
18, 19.
He would have been 18, 19 then. Basically for discriminative tweet. I've probably said that wrong.
What's happened to him? Sorry, has he been dropped?
Basically, he's been suspended whilst they continue investigations from tweets, from discriminative tweets reportedly from 2012, 2013.
When I was 18, 19.
Yeah,
and, look, I'm not saying it makes an excuse for it, but he was young. Okay, this is why cancel culture is so toxic. People get punished for things that they've tweeted when he's pretty much a kid. The fact is, we don't have the sort of the voices that we do have speaking about discriminative subjects that we do now. Like now we have people, who will, talk about obviously Black Lives Matter. We've got that going on. We've got everything going on to stop discriminative behaviour. Back then, I don't think we really did. And I believe, even at school, I think all of us can agree here, there was discriminative comments that were flown around everywhere, like they were just modern day languages.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the fact is, this is 10 years ago when, it was a very different place. And what he said probably at the time wasn't as seen as discriminative then, but is now, because people have actually had the education to learn about things and what is discriminative. If that makes sense.
And
he's also a kid. He's pretty much just stopped being a kid at that point. Like, fair enough. Let the bloke educate himself on not to say that. But you're punishing for something that he done 10 years ago, near enough.
Anyway, but it's something that we are, at uni, especially, we're all with what we're studying, that our lecturers, hammer on us about is to be so careful what we tweet. Like, I actually know some people, for the sake of it, have deleted their accounts and started new ones, because it just proves that, I bet, Ollie Robinson never thought that tweets that he made or sent out, 8-9 years ago would ever resurface. It just shows, though, that once it's out there, it is out there. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Think before you tweet.
That is also true. There's no excuses. What he did say, there isn't excuses of it. Obviously, we can understand that maybe that he should be suspended for it. I don't think that's the right punishment. I think just get him educated on it. He's tweeted that 10 years, near enough 10 years ago.
Educated. It just shows that, with social media being such a, it sounds pretty sad, an important part of all our lives now. We live in a very technological era. It just shows how uneducated so many people are on the topic.
I mean, this is quite similar to there was obviously there was Phil Neville's one, and there was also Kevin Hart. They both had situations just like this. Kevin Hart was going to be the host of, I think it was the Oscars or the Golden Globes, and then he got pulled up for tweets he'd done 12 years back, and he did a whole thing on it. And I just think it's just so harsh. You're a complete different person that far back. And same with Phil Neville, probably good at least 6 years back. And it's just so much has happened. You're a complete different person. It shouldn't be that you miss out on something because of this. It should be, I understand educating them. Maybe you take a class on certain things, but don't strip them of something they've earned from since. They've probably come away from that, a different view on life now.
Do you got any closing words on the final topic?
No, but I've got some closing words. Val Veghorst is going to win the Golden Boot. That's all I've got to say.
Oh, well, in a month's time, we'll come back to this year. We'll come back to it, to react to it, yeah?
Yeah, that's fair.
Let us know in the comment section below, you know, any thoughts you've got on anything we've done today. And also it'd be great to hear your feedback on things you think we'll do better, because, you know, we want to be able to make a podcast that you enjoy to watch and listen to. Let us know as well who you think's going to win the Euros, who's going to surprise, you know, be the surprise of the competition. It'd be great to hear from all of you. Our socials, our Twitter and Instagram for the account will be below. Let's say first 5 followers, we will follow back. And yeah, we will see you all next week on the next episode of Sports Social.